is about another thing, which is yeah, fanaticism and religious fanaticism is scary and at the same time understandable. We're like when 2024 and we're still fighting about the same stuff, really, which is very sad and also fascinating to.
So I have the wonderful Victor Vicart with me of Dune. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure, man. It's you got the memo and you've got the Motorhead t-shirt, ready.
Yes,
So it's gonna be a good one. How is
yes.
everything up in Scotland for you?
Good. Yeah, very good. We've just been super busy with the band. The last 2 years really has been very full on between tours and getting the album ready. We got this new album, Voidkind. We finished it in November and it arrived it was mastered in December. So things, have been, it's a very quick turnaround for us because we are releasing now in April and we have to get ready to play an album that is not the easiest to play live. So
That's very quick turnaround, I have to say. Like, yeah, no no room for mistakes.
no, no, in the room. Then it was one of those things, but sometimes it's good because you could, leave time to really overthink things. I think we've been a bit lucky and we hit the right spot at the same time. So yeah, happy days.
I guess we'll go sort of like back to, after Etemen Ænka was released and everything. So how did you kind of start back up, after the release of that album?
Well, this took a bit of time, and first, when Etemen was recorded, we had a bit of a hard time because our bassist at the time, who also wrote some of the guitar jack, left the band because he wanted to focus on his project. And I'm going to plug his new project in because his new project is amazing. I just heard his new album. His band is called Trudger, and the album is phenomenal, really. Quite a little different from us, but imagine old school Remission era of Mastodon, like very angular but really really good riffs. And yeah, anyway, he left us to do his own thing, which is great. But so we had to think a little bit about what we wanted to do, and we had a bit of like a few lineup change on bass and synths, and so we had to kind of take the time to play with different people, tour quite a bit, to get back to basically find the right lineup for the next album. And luckily, Alan, the bassist of Asheron, we got in touch with him again. And well, he's a great guitarist too, so he joined the band back. And him, Dudley and I wrote the foundation of the album together, really. Playing these songs live every night kind of gives you a bit of perspective of what's missing and what's working. And we had those songs that we were like, these are very good songs. We love them and we love this album, but they take a while to get to a point, sometime to time. And it's like 9, 10 minutes, 12-minute songs, sometime to time. And we wanted to do first, we wanted to do a new album, something that would sound fresh and something that will bring different kind of reaction and emotions as well. So we didn't have an album that feels like part two or like a DLC. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
So we really approach that more as a okay. Let's do something that will feel different, that will have a different impact, and this is what we end up doing. Then we had 14 songs written, demoed. Out of that, we just got rid of quite a lot of stuff, combined things we liked, and try to trim the unnecessary, the fat. If this wasn't bringing anything new, maybe it shouldn't be there. Maybe we're going to short it, make it a bit shorter. To answer your question, yeah, we took these 2 years really to reflect, think, and assess what we really wanted to do, and then it kind of worked out. We just were like slightly more concise songs, have like those 4 or 5 minutes distilled Dune really. And then if we've got at some point we want to be a bit more indulgent, let's do a couple of these big songs, but they need to feel different. They need to feel new.
I guess if you've been, riffing, for like 6 months and stuff like that, was it quite improvisational, or was it kind of like, did you get that sort of like riff in that moment, or was it more kind of like, you go off, write your bit, and then we come back and things like
A mix of everything. You can go in the studio sometime and have like just three, four people, two people sometimes together, jamming some ideas, and someone just play around, fool around with his instruments, and you find something that stick and just give you a bit of inspiration. Um, and then you can also do that at home. Sometimes the difficulty when you're at home, for us anyway, is we not you're not the only reactions you are getting is you. Alan is really good with his laptop though. He's very honest in his and also he gets excited really. He gets excited when it's good, and he gets really not excited if he doesn't like it. And 90% of the time he's right though. And you can kind of see when something has leg just by judging on the energy of each other. And there's moments where I don't know, I'm playing something stupid, really. I'm thinking I'm just noodling around, and he gets excited, and then someone else playing something on top, and then that becomes a song. That's very much Pleroma, by the way. Pleroma just came
No
around
way.
like that in like mostly one jam, like the main beats of it, like the verse chorus kind of thing. And then the intro, then after that, it was something that I had at home, kind of in the back of my head. But then the main thing was just 5 minutes of pam, pa, 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 and then Dirty got excited, and then the song got written.
So I guess kind of moving slightly left of field here. Could you tell me sort of some of the themes that are on Voidkind? Is it kind of like a direct continuation of Etemen Ænka, or is
No, not really. Although one day maybe we'll do if we want to sell like some kind of comic book or like illustrated novels, maybe we'll do something. But it's kind of the same universe, really. Etemen was more about like society and hierarchy in society, power and this kind of thing. This one is more about fanaticism and religious fanaticism, especially. There is a lot of interesting things you can delve into when you talk about this, whether it's like religion in general, history, mythology. You can go into some incredibly creative novels, video games, and all these kind of things, which we massively indulge into. So we rinsed all the Dark Souls game recently. We read a lot of the Hyperion Cantos as well, which is a book that talks about similar things as well. It's very cryptical the way we approach it, I think. And but we want it to be. We want people to go, I kind of wonder what they're singing about. Then you
Mhm.
start thinking about it and you're like, what are they meaning? And then you start, you have to really research it. But if people do it, which I personally do with other bands, other concepts, or video
Yeah,
games, if
same
they
here,
start
man.
doing it, I think it's rewarding. I find it rewarding. I don't know if you play computer games like Dark Souls and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I tried I've just started like Elden Ring and
yeah,
died like straight away in that
yeah,
in that
yeah.
field.
It's 90% of the game, but it's worth finishing. But they do something I love, which is a lot of my favorite games do that, where you don't really know what's happening, and you I don't know, sometimes you pick up an item and you read the description of the item, and actually just that is giving you insight about the story of another story. And as you're playing, you're kind of putting one and two together. Is that what you say?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Etemen was like that. I think Voidkind is even more like that. And yeah, we didn't take like a story from point A to Z. These are different stories, different moments of, it's not chronologically framed neither. So it's like different key moments in different shape and in different orders. And
This is your own version of Dark Souls, basically.
yes, yeah, basically, yeah, yeah, no,
I love
totally.
it. So what was it that kind of made you so interested about fanaticism and I guess worship, right? Like for lack of a better word, why was that sort of decided to be the focus of this one?
All albums we've done so far were topics that we think are like just enormous problems in the world in a shape or form. Ashan was about environment. The one before was about society and power within society and just yeah power hungry people, really. That's what it was about. This one is about another thing, which is Yeah, fanaticism and religious fanaticism is scary and at the same time understandable. They all kind of start the same. There is this and they all have like similar kind of stories as well. And this is what we try to do in this album, which is the beginning of the religion, which usually starts from a good point and then with good intentions, you know, and then and usually in reaction to something that was probably oppressive before that. Then there is the element of there's martyrdom that comes in with that, you know, like people getting oppressed and how this oppression and martyrdom spread ashes for actually this religion to rise, and then the religion starts rising, and then they in turn do the stuff that has been done to them or to their great grandparents. And if you come back on why I find the topic very interesting is we're like when 2024 and we're still fighting about the same stuff really, which is very sad. And also fascinating to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it, and yeah, and there's a lot of things within that. I think we really wanted to go in there without like giving a bit of we didn't want to have like the good guy and bad guy and stuff. It's just the stories. There is no, it's more gray than anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of like an omnipresent view, not like
Yeah,
either sort of like black or white. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, but
And
there is a God in it, and they actually exist. So that's maybe as good as it, as I guess that's the only difference with reality, I guess.
yeah, well, it's interesting that you say that because I felt like the artwork, especially, it kind of almost is going to sound a bit sort of like meta and stuff, but it sounds like it's almost like a metaphor for people being devoured by religion because you see all these people coming into what like the God is, right? Is that have I
Yeah.
got that right or wrong or
Yeah,
whatever?
that's bang on. That's exactly what it is. We wanted something that like both scary. He has a mask as well. I don't know if you've seen, which is kind of it's probably signifying. By the way, I want to shout out on to the artist about this artwork, which we absolutely loved. We've been very lucky to work with really good artists for all the albums we've done. But here it's Felix Abel Claire, who's been doing that cover, which we really dig. We saw his stuff on Instagram, and we really want him to do the artwork, which he nailed. So happy days. But when we talked about the idea of a god devouring through like we had this concept of a door, some chest being open, and like people being dragged into what was another world. We really wanted something like this, and what was meant to happen really with the cover is like these processions of people walking blindly into something they absolutely don't know what it is, into basically the belly of their god, which is quite interesting, and they go through the veil of their dimension. That's what's happening on the cover.
Wow. It's very interesting. So it's obviously very a sort of like cinematic way of looking at music. I was wondering, does the do you guys kind of write with a vision in mind? Like so when you're writing the music, do you see it before you, or do you have like an idea and then write the music to that?
It works both ways.
Okay.
Especially when we start going into the refinement of the music. Uh, Initially, we want to see what we want to write about because the music felt quite heavy.
Hmm.
Going for a heavy theme like this one, which is a much more violent theme than the last previous album we've done. Huh? There is, I was talking about there's stories of martyrdom. It's never chill. So yeah, no, there is this element of that. So the music called for something that was a bit darker and heavier. There's a song called "Reaching for Telos" on it, which is the third song I think of the album. The vocals we wanted it to be preachy. We wanted that to sound like it was a preacher really singing, and the lyrics kind of went around that. Then there's other songs which are more like the last song of the album, Cobalt Sun Necropolis. We wanted it to sound a lot more hectic and crazy and like yeah, just violent in one way. And the song helped with that. And then same story, like there's a song that, however, we thought was a bit of maybe of a stickler, let's put it this way. We didn't really know how it fit with everything. It's a song called Sarmatae, which has this very Middle Eastern vibe to it. And we had this idea of when we started listening to it, we thought this is going to be a song about a nomadic tribe, which is them really going through. It's like a generational pilgrimage. That song, and so we call it Sarmatae, which is a tribe from a nomadic tribe from the Middle East, like from a very very long time ago. So.
So what would you say, kind of, looking at how the album is made and all that sort of stuff, like when do you know that it's finished? Like, sometimes you can kind of over egg there's I guess an expression over egg the omelet, so you're
Yeah.
kind of like doing too much. Like how do you know?
You don't. That's a problem. You don't. I think it's kind of why sometimes for us it's good to have a timeline and like a deadline more than anything, because I just feel like at the end we could have kept going, kept going. We could have been there right now and just changing little details. I don't know. I don't think it would have been positive. I think it's good sometimes to just call it and being like, right, no, it's like all the elements are there. It's good to be like, is it perfect? Is any piece of art ever perfect? And should it be? Are you going to make it better? Or are you going to make it maybe a bit worse? And also, are you going to hate the product because of the process? I think there is an element of that. And yeah, I don't want to make it to make this romantic, like to romanticize sorry,
It's
the
horrible.
yeah, there's an element. It's not easy to make an album in general, and it's not easy to make an album of a progressive post metal, with like of 60 minutes. There is an element of it where you need to obsess a bit, and no, we love it. No, we really love it, and we loved it during, but there was like a love and hate relationship with what we were doing. So yeah.
Absolutely, man. So I guess, because we talked about a couple of concept albums, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, what are some of your favorite concept albums then by like other bands and things?
I cannot not talk about there's the big three for us. There's Blackwater Park by Opeth, has to be in there. Like the Sky by Mastodon. It's probably my favorite progressive metal album. And Lateralus by Tool, I think is yeah, it
Pretty
doesn't get
big
much better
picks.
than this. Yeah, it's like maybe it's not very original. I don't want to give you like the most obscure thing that came out of but come on, man. It's like there's levels to this, and I think these three albums are very much there. And when it's just too good, man. It's really just that amazing.
So, obviously now that the record is finished and,
Mm.
waiting for it to be released, if you had to look back on like a specific moment during the process of, either writing, recording, what would you say would be your favorite moment?
Let me think. There's been a lot of really good moments, and some really shit ones too. No, there's been some really incredible moments. Like the first time we finished the drums and the guitars and bass. So we recorded in like in a house outside Edinburgh, and we all stayed there during the making of that chunk of music, because it's I wouldn't say it's the hardest, but it's like the one where it's good to be all together and kind of live and breathe the album. And when we finished everything, we just press played, and I remember we had a couple of drinks all together, and we're like, right, well, a bit stressed like to press play, and we press played, and everyone was smiling in the room. The vibe of seeing your friends and everyone getting excited about what you just created is amazing. So I would probably go for this one.
And finally, what would you say you've learned the most about yourself in creating Voidkind?
I think with this album, with each album anyway, we are going more and more into these territories of more thinking about how things sounds and how unique a part is. And with the vocals, I was mentioning the vocals, the accents, and the just being ourselves and being really that kind of like individuality.
Mhm.
Um, Dolly and I had the exact same chat when he was doing his drums. He says, we all say that we are by far not the best musicians on the planet, but first we play well together, and two, we have interesting stuff going on. We have our own things going on with the way we play, and it might not be the most technical things on the planet, but it's what's interesting is the uniqueness of it. And my favorite bands are not necessarily the best band on the planet, although I just mentioned the most technical bands ever. But there's so many records I love where
Yeah.
people are not good, very good musicians in it, but the albums are so good, and you just really cannot pinpoint why. And I think this is what I love in this record, where it's not necessarily about the complexity of a song. It's more about what the song is saying, and if it's just does it feel good, and that's the bottom line of it. So yeah, I wish I knew that when we started music, and that's if I had the tip to give anyone is just make something that's you, and that's what we will keep doing for sure for the next one.
So it's been great to chat with you. Thank you so much, Victor, for taking the time to, have a chat on the channel. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and yeah, anytime, just ask us back.
Always, man.